7 worst and 6 best Japanese sleeper cars to buy. Welcome back, gearheads. Japan has given us some of the sneakiest machines ever. Cars that look like plain commuters, but could embarrass sports cars at a stoplight. But not every sleeper lived up to the hype. Some promised hidden speed and delivered headaches instead. Today we're breaking down the legends worth buying and the pretenders you should avoid. And trust me, the last pick might surprise you. Let's get started. 7 worst Japanese sleeper cars to avoid. 1. Mazda RX-8, a car with suicide doors, a futuristic interior, and handling that begged to be taken to the limit. On paper, it had everything to be the hidden gem of Japan's lineup. It carried the DNA of one of the most beloved sports cars of all time, with styling that whispered family coupe, but the soul of a racer. Sounds like the makings of a perfect sleeper, right? Under the hood sat Mazda's 1.3-liter rotary engine, a design unlike anything else on the road. Small, high-revving, and exotic, it produced 232 horsepower in manual form and could spin past 9,000 RPM. 0 to 60 came in the mid-6-second range, and torque was a modest 159 pound-feet. On a twisty road, the RX-8 was alive. Light steering, near-perfect balance, and enough revs to make you grin. For a moment, it felt like Mazda had built a budget Ferrari hidden in commuter clothing. But then reality hit. The very engine that made it unique also cursed it. The rotary was fragile, guzzled oil, and was infamous for failing before 100,000 miles. Starting issues, poor fuel economy, and expensive rebuilds turned excitement into regret. Owners who thought they'd uncovered a secret weapon quickly realized they were holding a ticking time bomb. And unlike true sleepers, reliability is what betrayed it most. So while the RX-8 could spook a Mustang for a quarter mile, it couldn't survive long enough to be trusted. Bold looks, bold engineering, but as a sleeper worth buying, it never crossed the finish line. And that's why it earns a spot on our list of the worst. 2. Toyota Celica SS3. This one could have been mistaken for an everyday sporty coupe, blending into suburban streets without raising an eyebrow. Its lines were clean, understated, almost polite, yet beneath that calm exterior lurked an engine that promised to play in higher leagues. At first glance, it seemed like a harmless commuter, but that 2.0-liter four-cylinder was no ordinary engine. It was a beams-powered marvel, revving freely up to 7,800 RPM, producing 180 horsepower and 142 pound-feet of torque. Swift enough to hit 60 in under 7 seconds, it hinted at surprises for anyone who underestimated it. And this is where the story takes a turn. The Celica SS3 delivered in bursts, peppy acceleration, sharp handling, and a chassis that begged to carve corners, but the magic was fleeting. The gearbox was clunky, suspension a bit stiff for everyday roads, and the small interior made long drives tiring. Here's the catch. What could have been a sleeper legend became a car that demanded constant attention. Reliability wasn't terrible, but maintenance costs on the high-rev, rotary-like engine made it a headache for the unprepared. So while the SS3 could impress on a quiet back road, it was never truly a hidden hero you could trust daily. It looked unassuming, sounded tame, yet occasionally flirted with adrenaline, but not enough to survive on a list of sleepers worth owning. That mix of promise and letdown is exactly why it earns its place among the worst Japanese sleepers to avoid. 3. Honda CRX Del Sol. A tiny two-seater with the soul of a racer, or at least that's what it wanted you to think. Its Targa-style roof, playful proportions, and compact frame made it stand out in traffic without screaming performance. And inside, it carried Honda's beloved 1.6-liter D16 engine, producing roughly 160 horsepower and 111 pound-feet of torque. Lightweight and nimble, it could sprint from 0 to 60 in just over 7 seconds, teasing the idea of a hidden performer. But the Del Sol's charm was a double-edged sword. Its tiny cabin and short wheelbase made spirited driving fun, but stability at higher speeds suffered. The engine loved to rev, but torque was modest, and on highways, it often felt underpowered compared to similarly priced sports cars. Then came the reliability quirks: roof seals that leaked, soft suspension bushings that wore quickly, and a manual gearbox that could protest if mistreated. What should have been a sleeper gem instead became a car that demanded constant care and attention. And here's the twist. Despite its sporty looks, quick steering, and zippy engine, It wasn't a car you could rely on to consistently impress or intimidate. It flirted with hidden potential, but that potential came wrapped in compromise after compromise. This delicate balance of fun and frustration is exactly why the Honda CRX Del Sol lands on our list of Japanese sleepers you'll want to avoid. 4. Toyota Paseo. This car looked like it belonged in a high school parking lot, cheerful and harmless, yet somehow promised a spark of excitement. Its compact coupe design and rounded edges gave it an approachable, friendly vibe. But don't expect jaws to drop at the stoplight. Beneath its unassuming hood sat a 1.5-liter inline-4, delivering just 100 horsepower and 97 pound-feet of torque. Sprinting from 0 to 60 took a leisurely 10.5 seconds. And while it could handle city streets with ease, it lacked the punch to impress anyone beyond casual commuters. On twisty roads, the Paseo's lightweight frame and responsive steering hinted at potential, but it quickly became obvious that it was more bark than bite. The suspension was soft, body roll noticeable, and the brakes struggled under spirited driving. What started as a cheerful little coupe could quickly feel fragile and underwhelming. Maintenance wasn't particularly brutal, but the small engine and basic components offered little thrill, and reliability alone couldn't save its lackluster performance. Yet the most surprising part? Despite its meek numbers and mild handling, the Paseo still tried to convince you it could hang with sportier Japanese coupes. It looked ready for fun, yet delivered disappointment instead. That combination of could have been and never really is cements the Toyota Paseo's place on our list of Japanese sleepers you should avoid. 5. Suzuki X-90. A quirky little SUV with the soul of a clown and the ego of a sports car. This is a car that made you do a double take. Its tiny frame, rounded headlights, and T-top roof promised adventure. Yet everything about it whispered novelty over performance. Under the hood, a 1.6-liter SOHC 4-cylinder produced just 95 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque, launching the X90 from 0 to 60 in a sluggish 12 seconds. For a moment, you might think it's a secret weapon in disguise, but the numbers don't lie. The chassis was playful and light, yet the wide stance and high center of gravity made handling awkward and unpredictable. Steering was vague, suspension bouncy, and the brakes offered minimal confidence in spirited corners. Driving the X90 hard revealed that its sporty design was all illusion. And while it had the novelty factor to turn heads at a car meet, reliability issues like weak electrical systems and hard-to-source parts quickly turned excitement into frustration. What's ironic is that the X90 could have been a cult classic sleeper with just a bit more engineering finesse. Instead, it straddled the line between quirky fun and why did I buy this? Its charm wore off fast, leaving drivers with a fun story but little performance to brag about. That's why the Suzuki X90 takes its place firmly on our list of Japanese sleepers to avoid. Cute, weird, and disappointing all at once. 6. Nissan NX2000. A compact coupe with wedge-like styling that seemed ready to sprint, the NX2000 whispered performance. But only just whispered. Its exterior promised a sporty punch, yet under the hood sat a 2.0-liter SR20DE inline-4, producing 140 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. Quick enough to hit 0 to 60 in around 8.5 seconds, it looked like it could handle more than it actually delivered. At first glance, it felt like a hidden gem, but the reality told a different story. Handling was tight in corners thanks to its lightweight and short wheelbase, yet the suspension was harsh on anything but smooth roads. Torque was modest, and acceleration, while respectable on paper, often left the driver yearning for more punch. Over time, issues like early clutch wear, minor electrical quirks, and the limited aftermarket support revealed just how fragile this sleeper really was. Despite its appealing lines and clever attempt at a sleeper persona, the NX2000 struggled to deliver the thrill its looks promised. It flirted with potential, but ultimately failed to satisfy, making it a car that excites at first glance and disappoints the moment you push it. That's why the Nissan NX2000 earns its spot on our list of Japanese sleepers to avoid. And if you're enjoying this countdown, hit that like button and subscribe, because the last car on our worst list has a story that will make your jaw drop. 7th Honda Prelude, 5th generation. This one seemed poised to rewrite the rules for sporty coupes, sleek lines, a wide stance, and a pop-up headlight design, that hinted at excitement. The 5th-gen Prelude carried Honda's H22A 4-cylinder under the hood, delivering 200 horsepower and 156 pound-feet of torque, enough to sprint from 0 to 60 in about 6.9 seconds. It looked like a secret weapon in traffic, a sleeper ready to embarrass the unsuspecting. But looks can be deceiving. The Prelude's strengths were clear: precise steering, a balanced chassis, and a rev-happy engine that loved to be pushed. On winding roads, it felt alive, nimble, and surprisingly agile for its size. Yet the thrill came with compromise. The car's weight made it less explosive off the line than you'd expect, and the manual gearbox could be finicky in daily driving. Suspension wear and electrical quirks further chipped away at its reliability. Even though it could hold its own against some sportier contemporaries, the 5th-gen Prelude demanded patience and constant care. Its performance promised more than it often delivered, leaving drivers caught between admiration and frustration. That delicate balance of excitement and letdown is exactly why the Honda Prelude earns its place on our list of Japanese sleepers to avoid: stylish, capable, but ultimately a tricky car to trust. 6 best Japanese sleeper cars to buy. 1. Mitsubishi Galant VR4. A seemingly ordinary sedan with subtle lines and a quiet badge, but underneath, it was a storm waiting to unleash. Its conservative exterior betrayed nothing of the engineering magic tucked beneath the hood. Beneath that unassuming shell sat a 2.0-liter turbocharged inline-4 paired with all-wheel drive, producing 276 horsepower and 274 pound-feet of torque. Capable of hitting 0 to 60 in just over 6 seconds, it could outpace many sportier rivals without ever drawing attention. On city streets, it was the perfect commuter, but press the throttle on an open road, and suddenly you were in the company of proper sports cars. The Galant VR4 excelled at handling tight corners thanks to its advanced all-wheel drive system and well-tuned suspension. Brakes were strong, steering precise, and the balance between comfort and performance made it a surprisingly versatile machine. It was a sedan that didn't scream fast, yet it delivered a thrilling experience for those in the know. Even JDM enthusiasts would admit that its restrained styling was part of its charm. It didn't beg for attention, but it quietly owned the asphalt. Of course, nothing is perfect. The turbo engine required meticulous maintenance, and the AWD system could be costly to service if neglected. Parts for older models can be tricky to source, and some found the interior less refined than rivals in its price class. Yet these flaws pale in comparison to what the Galant VR4 offers. A true sleeper that combines practicality, power, and the kind of handling that leaves unsuspecting drivers wondering what just passed them. Bold, capable, and unassuming, it's exactly the type of Japanese sleeper worth owning. 2. MazdaSpeed 6. It was a mid-size sedan that looked like it belonged in a PTA parking lot, but it carried the heart of a rally car. Under the hood, Mazda packed a 2.3-liter turbocharged inline-4, producing 274 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque, paired with an all-wheel drive system that could launch this unsuspecting sedan from 0 to 60 in just 5.9 seconds. On paper, it might seem like a sleeper waiting to be discovered, but on the road, it demanded attention in the best way possible. The MazdaSpeed 6 excelled where it mattered most. Cornering was sharp, the AWD system kept it planted in rain or snow, and the turbocharged engine delivered exhilarating power throughout the rev range. Its understated styling let it slip under the radar in parking lots, yet it could outperform many traditional sports cars without drawing suspicion. Drivers loved the balance of comfort and performance, an everyday sedan that could double as a weekend thrill machine. But no car is perfect. Turbo maintenance required diligence, and its fuel economy was less forgiving than a standard 6-cylinder sedan. Some found the cabin a bit cramped, and the early MazdaSpeed 6 models had minor electronic quirks. Still, these are small prices to pay for a car that delivers performance in plain sight. So for those who want a sleeper with personality and power, the MazdaSpeed 6 is a rare gem. Would you take this stealthy powerhouse over a flashy sports car on your next spirited drive? 3. Subaru Legacy GT. A sedan that looked like a dependable family car, parked quietly in the driveway, yet hid a performance pedigree that few suspected. Beneath its modest exterior lay a 2.5-liter turbocharged flat-4 boxer engine, producing 250 horsepower and 235 pound-feet of torque, paired with Subaru's legendary all-wheel drive system. It could sprint from 0 to 60 in roughly 6.3 seconds, enough to embarrass unsuspecting sports cars while looking perfectly normal in traffic. The Legacy GT's strengths were all about balance. Its low center of gravity from the boxer engine, combined with a well-tuned suspension and precise steering, made cornering a confident, planted experience. Daily driving was comfortable, the interior practical, and visibility excellent. An unassuming car that could dominate twisty roads without raising eyebrows. Its understated styling was part of the charm. No flashy badges, no aggressive lines, just a quiet, competent sedan hiding serious intent. Of course, perfection has its caveats. Turbo maintenance required attention, and some early models had quirks with the all-wheel drive electronics and the intercooler piping. Fuel economy was respectable for a turbo sedan, but enthusiasts pushing it hard would notice the difference. Still, these minor drawbacks barely overshadow the Legacy GT's sleeper appeal. It's a car that rewards those who know how to exploit its potential. A subtle yet potent Japanese sedan that proves power doesn't need to shout. 4. Toyota Mark II Tourer 5 JZ X-90. It could easily be mistaken for a conservative executive car, blending seamlessly into parking lots and city streets. Yet under its refined exterior lurked one of Toyota's most legendary engines, the 1JZ twin-turbo inline-6. Producing 280 horsepower and 268 pound-feet of torque, it could accelerate from 0 to 60 in just over 5.5 seconds, fast enough to embarrass more obvious sports cars without anyone suspecting a thing. The Mark II Tourer 5 excelled in ways that made it a true sleeper. Its rear-wheel drive layout, coupled with a limited slip differential and well-balanced chassis, allowed for precise cornering and controlled slides for those who knew how to handle it. The suspension struck a perfect compromise between comfort and performance, making it ideal for both daily commuting and spirited driving. Its understated looks and executive styling masked a car capable of serious speed, and enthusiasts who unlocked its potential quickly discovered why this model became a cult favorite. No car is without flaws. Parts for the 1JZ GTE can be expensive, and early models sometimes experienced electronic gremlins. Turbo maintenance and clutch wear demand attention, and pushing it too hard without proper care could lead to costly repairs. Yet these minor drawbacks do little to diminish the Mark II's appeal. It remains a Japanese sleeper classic, a car that commands respect quietly, proving that raw power doesn't always need to be loud or flashy. 5. Honda Accord 2.0T. This family sedan that seemed content to ferry groceries and kids to soccer practice, yet quietly harbored a surprising amount of firepower. Beneath the hood of this unassuming Accord sat a 2.0-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine, producing 245 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, capable of hitting 0 to 60 in just 6.2 seconds. On the road, it felt planted, smooth, and composed, hiding the kind of acceleration that could catch even seasoned drivers off guard. The Accord 2.0T shined in versatility. Its front-wheel drive layout paired with a refined suspension made daily driving effortless, while its turbocharged engine offered a linear power delivery that rewarded those who pushed it responsibly. The cabin was comfortable, tech-savvy for its era, and practical, making it a sleeper that didn't force you to compromise on everyday usability. Its understated exterior gave nothing away, letting it slip under the radar while silently outperforming rivals in the corners and straights. Of course, nothing is perfect. Turbo maintenance required diligence, and enthusiastic driving could reveal minor torque steer. Fuel economy suffered if you pressed hard, and interior materials weren't as plush as some European competitors. Yet these small flaws are easily outweighed by its performance potential. It's a car that proves power and practicality can coexist, quietly thrilling without showing off. If you're looking for a sleeper that can surprise without shouting, the Honda Accord 2.0T might just be your perfect stealthy weapon. Smash that like button if you take this underrated performer for a spin, and don't forget to subscribe for the final 2 sleepers on our list. 6. Lexus GS F. It was a luxury sedan that could quietly glide through traffic without turning a head. Yet beneath the elegant sheet metal lurked a monster of a machine. Its 5.0-liter naturally aspirated V8 roared to life with 467 horsepower and 389 pound-feet of torque, propelling the GSF from 0 to 60 in just 4.5 seconds. From the outside, it looked like a typical executive car, polished, understated, and refined, but anyone daring to press the throttle quickly discovered a car that demanded respect. The GSF combined brute force with precision. Its rear-wheel drive layout, adaptive suspension, and torque vectoring differential made it remarkably agile for a car of its size. Brakes were sharp, steering direct, and the chassis offered confidence through every corner. It wasn't just fast in a straight line, it could handle curves with a grace that belied its weight. Inside, luxury and comfort mingled seamlessly with driver-focused tech, creating a sedan that could handle daily life while secretly delivering track-capable thrills. Yet perfection comes with minor compromises. The GS F guzzled fuel, and tires wore quickly under spirited driving. Its size limited maneuverability in tight urban spaces, and maintenance on the high-performance V8 could be pricey. Still, these small drawbacks pale compared to the experience it offers. Quiet, confident, and unapologetically powerful, the Lexus GS F embodies the ultimate Japanese sleeper, proving that a car doesn't need flashy styling to dominate both the road and unsuspecting rivals. Which one of these sleepers would you line up for a late-night run, silent, unassuming, and ready to shock anyone in your lane? Drop your pick in the comments below, smash that subscribe button, and buckle up, because the next video is going even deeper into Japan's hidden machines. Some of the cars we'll show you are so sneaky and fast, they practically vanish from memory, and a few might just blow your mind. Don't blink, you won't want to miss what's coming.